Welcome again now, dear friends, to the Tuesday edition of Fresh Bread. It is Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. Again, Reverend Phil Anderson here with you, pastor of Oakland United Methodist Church and Kansas Avenue United Methodist Church here in Topeka, Kansas. And again, I'm out taking a walk here today, just as I was for yesterday's broadcast. Again, we're playing catch up, so just pretend you're out walking with me, taking a nice little leisurely stroll. Beautiful afternoon. It looks like we're going to get a little weather here later in the week. And in fact, looks like we should be getting some weather here in about an hour or so. Looking for some thunderstorms coming through Topeka, possibly starting along about an hour from as I'm taking this walk, which is actually 3:52 p.m. here on Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. By the way, happy Valentine's Day. Do you hope you've had a time to really enjoy this day? Well, we were talking yesterday about how to connect. And it's a process, I find. It's not something that happens just overnight with, we're going to go out and just win the world over. Matter of fact, it's opposite of that. It's just exactly not going to happen if we try to force it. And I was hearing about a revival that was going on starting, I believe, last week. And I just happened to come across this yesterday. You don't hear much about this kind of thing on mainstream media. Excuse me, but you do hear it if you look for it. It's out there. Apparently it was on the YouTube channel. I guess it was on the Christian Broadcasting Network. And so I watched it. It was very interesting. It was at Asbury University in Wilmore, Kentucky. There's also a seminary called Asbury Theological Seminary, and both of those have some ties to the Wesleyan Holiness movement. And of course that predates the United Methodist Church, even so far back, I believe, as to the time of John Wesley, where it kind of got its origins. So I believe I'm telling you correctly when I'm telling you all that. If not, I'll do some double checking. But I believe that that's the background of these two colleges. There's the Asbury University, again in Kentucky. There's the Asbury Theological Seminary. It's across the street. They have divided now. Asbury Theological Seminary, I believe, may still have some connection to the United Methodist Church. But again, it's coming again out of the Methodist Holiness movement, which again, I believe is something that's traced back to John Wesley. And so, before I get too far off track, I would like to just say this. At some point, I would love to do like a Sunday evening series, maybe a potluck for like a month on just who was John Wesley. We hear about him. Do we really know him? And even if we do know him, do we understand what he was all about? And does what John Wesley have to say back in the 1700s still apply to us today? And I would say absolutely. But have we lost it? And have we kind of put it off to the side? So I would like to do that maybe when things kind of get settled down, if that ever happens. But I would love to do that. And again, it would be good for me because I really want to know more about John Wesley. I can tell you there's a lot of historical people that, I would like to know about. But I am so intrigued with John Wesley, and his shadow has gone clear over to so many different things. It's prevalent here in the United States. By far, it goes way beyond the United Methodist Church. So when you think of denominations, for instance, like the Church of the Nazarene, the Assemblies of God, and many others, that's John Wesley's footprint that they are following right there. And so I think there's a lot that we could learn from that as we try to engage our culture. And again, this revival that's going on, the reason I mention it was, and you can look it up, the Asbury University Revival, or just do a Google on Asbury Revival and you'll see a lot of information that's out there. You may not see it on the mainstream media, but you'll find a lot of information. And we'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. But for today, I just wanted to say this, that I don't think we can manufacture a revival. I think it all starts with us as individuals turning our hearts toward God and sincerely seeking Him, repenting of those things we have done and are doing that are wrong, asking God to forgive us, and then asking the Holy Spirit to come in and lead us where He wants us to go. And I believe the Holy Spirit is the one that's going to lead any revival that takes place. It's not something we can just say, hey, we're going to have a revival. We can have revival services, but a real revival is going to be led, I believe, by the Holy Spirit. We'll talk more about that tomorrow on More Fresh Bread. So don't forget to join me back tomorrow on Wednesday for Fresh Bread. Until then, have a wonderful evening. God bless you. We'll talk to you then.